Super excited to be on here. All right, here we go. We are live. Hey, everybody. Great to see you guys. How's it going? This is Seth, Can Keep It Real, and Dan Rogers, originally from South Africa, but today he is in the great city of London. Welcome, Dan.
Hello, everyone, and thanks for having me again, Seth. Excited for the questions and keen to get into the session.
Me too. And you guys probably remember we had like the Dan and Seth show going pretty strong for a while, and we pulled back from that just to work on some other stuff. But it is so cool to be here. What's up, Vered? What's up, Jesus and Sebastian and Alex and Michael? Guys, we want your questions. Now remember, this is Stump Seth. That means if you can stump me and Dan, you get a free iPad. It's happened twice so far. Let's see if it happens today. But it has to be a qualified question. It can't just be something crazy random that you Googled that there's no possible way we could have known. Okay, so I'm gonna invite two guests really quick just to start off. So I'm gonna ask Kimberly Joy and Ingrid to come on over here just for a second and say hello. I just want you guys to see what's happening in the back end of the office here. So I'll let them say hello.
Hi. Hi, guys.
So can you guys probably saw Ingrid on my Instagram stories this morning. So Ingrid, can you just briefly tell us, why are you here in the US? Because heck, you took like 11-hour flight to get over here.
Yes, I am here to make one of my dreams come true. And so that's the main thing.
Yeah, that's a very good summary. So awesome. Thank you guys.
Yeah.
So this is what Just One Dime does. Our theme, our goal, our mission is literally, if you want to put it that way, and I know it sounds super Disney-like, to help people's dreams come true, to help them learn how to build passive income so they can have margin to do the things they love with the people they love. So thank you so much, Kimberly and Ingrid, for coming over and saying hello. Okay, Bing is better than Google. That's going to be this is a fun audience. What about UK and Brexit? This is going to be a great one, Dan. Oh man, they're like, the questions are just flowing, brother. All right, so Dan, I'm gonna let you begin with the topic. This is a super key topic, you guys. And the question is, I'll just ask you straight up, Dan, what is today the best, latest method of research, in your opinion, for finding products on Amazon? Because if there's any one thing consistent about Amazon, it is change. So what is it, Dan? What would you say?
Yeah, I would say the newest one is very different, actually. We all used to like the tools, software tools, and researching products through those. Maybe it's a database or a Chrome extension. But the newest one is actually from Amazon itself. And that would be Amazon Brand Analytics. And I think the only thing is that it's only with brand registered accounts. So if you are brand registered, you would have access to that under InSeller Central, under reports, and then brand analytics. And that is absolutely key. I could even share a screen on it, but it's going to be key because Amazon's telling us exactly what search for the most. And if it's searched for on Amazon, those are searches to buy. So in essence, the rank of those searches tells you what's in highest demand on Amazon itself. So looking down that list, you're going to be able to see which products in the highest demand on Amazon itself. Like the first one, for example, is iPhone charger, which of course would have like huge competition.
Ridiculous. Yeah.
But you can go way down that list and in order of demand on Amazon itself, choose products and pick products. And there's a whole other aspect to that as well, because you could, if you just say you did a fishing rod, if you just type in fishing rod, it's going to bring up all the auto completes to that. So you can come up with differentiation ideas and see what variant of fishing rod you should launch as well. So I think product research, differentiation research, and also keyword research is going to be a huge aspect from brand analytics. So if you do have that, definitely start using that.
Yeah, this is really good. And guys, you've heard me say for the longest time now, for years, that when tools claim they have Amazon keyword volume, they actually don't. So if you go to Amazout and you click on monthly search volume, that is a generic search volume coming from merchant words. Viral Launch, I love those guys, nothing against them personally, but I give very little credibility when they claim search volume. With brand analytics, you get that. With PPC, you get that, especially when it comes to number of impressions. So this has brought it to a whole nother level. Dan, when we were in Los Angeles for Ecom 2019, and Amazon's leader of brand registry, as well as the leader of Project Zero and a couple other people were there, they talked about a whole new brand dashboard and how excited they were to see this coming out, because this is how you create a brand when you understand what people are searching. And so I'm excited about this. I absolutely love it. And I hope you guys are taking advantage of it. Here's what I love, Dan. It's making it easier for us to find products that customers are searching. And I know someone's objection is going to be like this: wait, but that means all my competitors have the same data too. That's true. But guess what there's a lack of right now? There's a lack of good Amazon sellers. What there's not a lack of is customers. There's a lot of sellers who are doing nothing. Over 90% of them don't do anything. They don't try, they don't know, they make mistakes. But the ones who do know it are crushing it. So there's a huge difference of knowledge between knowing what you're doing and not knowing what you're doing. But right now, Amazon's growth, the customers joining Amazon, is way faster than successful sellers selling in Amazon. My point is, it's kind of like, the Wild West in America. If you lived here in the mid 1800s or even the early 1800s, and there's this plot of land, no one's claimed it, it's just waiting. There's not enough pioneers to go claim the land. So look at it that way. There's not enough people launching products. We have a dearth of good Amazon sellers who know how to build a business. And I don't mean this offensively, but those Amazon sellers who don't know what they're doing become irrelevant. I'm not saying it's people that don't matter. I'm saying it's irrelevant for the market because they don't change anything because they don't know how to do it. So this is huge. And thanks for sharing that, man.
Yeah, I think one of the other aspects is that not everyone has access. It's going to be if you're brand registered. So there's even more reason, in my opinion, to do the brand registry, get the trademark, because you're going to be that much further ahead of the competitors. Because if Amazon starts doing more of this, more tools, that's going to get really interesting. I don't know how deep they're going to go with it, but you actually have a step up on competitors if you're brand registered. So I would work toward that. And on the branding aspect you touched on, what's really interesting is if you type in just the start of your niche, let's say it was fishing, it drops down everything else. So you then seeing all the products in fishing rod, fishing net, fishing reel, etc., all the way down. So I'm really glad to see it as well, because we've always pushed the brand building aspect, the trademarking, the brand registry, and now this benefit starting to grow.
Right. Absolutely. Okay. We're going to start with a few questions. One of the questions is, what was Ingrid's accent? It is Hungarian. It is Hungarian. And someone said they love your British accent, Dan, and I'm proud to say British is South African. And I actually, I met someone in Sweden who had a South African accent, and I didn't know it. I just guessed, and I was right. I think I hang out with you so much that I really have learned the subtle differences, my friend.
Your accent actually starts to change with time because of the people you interact with. So mine's like morphed a little because I deal so much with American people and Brits now as well.
People Americanize you yet? All right. So a question comes up. I'm going to give this one to you, Dan, just because I love you. I am selling in the European Union. What about UK after Brexit? Thank you, by the way, Jay Susius, for that question. I'm being a little sarcastic.
So, yeah, it's difficult to know exactly what the outcome's going to be. They're putting certain things in place now so that Amazon has a solution to deal with that. So I think there's going to be little changes across the board. Right now, you can send inventory cross-border. So if you have your home marketplace, let's say in the UK, you can hold all your inventory there and cross-border fulfill to Spain, Italy, France, Germany. But that might change with Brexit, or how that's done might change. But as we've seen with Amazon, they always come up with a plan. So, but until, first of all, Brexit goes through, or however that ends up happening, we won't have a decisive answer on that yet. But I'm sure they'll have a procedure to deal with the cross-border fulfillment.
Yeah, I'm just curious, and I would ask everyone watching right now, how many of you guys are in favor of Brexit? How many of you are not? I don't know if I've met a human alive who is not in favor of it. I'm sure there are, who is in favor of it. I'm sure there's people out there who do. From my outside perspective, I think it's going to hurt the United Kingdom, but I understand the whole idea of patriotism and all that, but yeah. Anyways, we'll go into that later. Here's a great question. I'll tackle this one. Alex says, Seth and Dan, here's my question. What makes a great product description? When I think about that, I think of mission statement, why our company and not others, thanks in advance. So a couple things on this. And guys, just to be clear, when we say product description, he's specifically talking about that block of material where you can write a lot about your product. Not the title, not the bullet points, but the block. Now, if you're selling through your own website or using Shopify on the back end or on eBay, you still get a block of section to write about it. So it applies to any scenario where you're selling a physical product online. In my opinion, the number one most important thing you need to include in your product description is going to be the convictions upon which you built your company. Let me give you an example. You could start with a feature. So a feature of this amazing Vasa 1628 coffee mug that I got from Sweden. This is a restored ship that sunk in the days of the pirates, or just a little bit after the days of the pirates, and they restored it 98% to its true material. That picture is of it, and I got to see it at a museum. It was amazing. So if I am selling these mugs, a feature would be it is small, has great art, it has a sort of a cool sheen to it. If you can't obviously experience this, but if you feel it, it feels really good. And it's actually comfortable to have some black tea from, which you can see I have a little bit left right there. So those are all features, like the curve of the lip, the color, the shape. The next level is, well, what are the benefits that those features bring? Well, so one of the benefits of the lip is comfort to my lips. One of the benefits of the painting is it looks nice to the eyes. See, that's a benefit. So we went from the feature to the benefit. Where most companies stop is right there. They don't go to conviction. Let me give you an example. When you buy Nike shoes, you're not just buying a great shoe, you're buying into the theme of just do it. That statement is a conviction. And if you read the story of the founder and you start to see what he went through, you realize why it meant so much to him. The idea is, don't overthink things. Don't constantly second question yourself. Go move to action and figure it out. Just do it. That's the action. So that's a conviction. That's deeper than just the look of the shoe. So when you build, if your business is built off of these mugs, perhaps your conviction is history should be reserved. History should be treasured. There's a lot we can learn from the past. See, that's conviction. That's principles. That's non-physical parts of your company. So I would always make sure you keep that part in your company mission statement, because when people buy your product, remember, they're not really buying the product. They're buying the benefits and what you believe in. It's an emotional decision. And even if someone came out with the exact same product as yours or really close, because you promoted the conviction, made it strong and made it clear, and it sort of became your rant, and it doesn't have to be yours, it could be other faces doing it. Now you've already differentiated yourselves in a way they can't, because they're buying because they believe in the brand, not just the product. Someone else could come out with shoes that are identical to Nike, but they don't have the just do it theme. They don't have that conviction tied to it. And therefore, they're differentiated at such a deep level, no one can compete with that. And that is the greatest differentiation of all, the differentiation of you. You being different, you being you, and you being the best you that you can be. And I'm definitely not trying to recruit for the American Army. Okay, Dan. Okay, so Rob, I apologize, man. It must have scrolled up. I did not see your question. Rob says, how can we use coupon codes to send when a customer signs up for a warranty on your website? It looks like Amazon changed the one-time use codes. Is this still possible? What are your thoughts, brother?
So with the I'm just trying to follow it because I can't see it.
Yeah.
So
I can reread it to you, man. I think he's combining the warranty with the coupon code. So he says, how can we use coupon codes to send when customer signs up for a warranty on your website? I think it was referring to, if I go and I get the little insert card and it takes me to a website, and the motivation to sign up for the warranty is to get a coupon in the next order. That's where I'm guessing he's headed.
Yeah. So I'm going to guess it's coming from an insert card, a physical insert card in the product. And then the customer's finding that, typing in a URL and going to your website to get the warranty. or a discount or an ebook, etc. And then from there, you want to give them the coupon. So what you can do, what I would recommend is you're going to direct them or redirect them to a landing page, which is going to then give out the coupon code. So one of the services I use for this is My Seller Pal. They do this, and they're quite a cost-effective service as well, but there are many that do the same. And you're sending them to that landing page, and they will then be able to drop in their email and get that coupon code from you. So I would just use a service like that. And that way you generate your coupon codes on Seller Central and you drop them into your landing page software over here, My Seller Pal, and that will be ready to distribute those codes out every time the customer gets to that landing page. But that should still work absolutely fine. But you need like an external service to make sure you're distributing those effectively and not like losing control of them either.
Right.
So I definitely recommend a landing page software.
Awesome. Thank you, Rob. Great question, by the way, man. Alex, Seth, how many products do you personally launch yearly on Amazon doing private label? So I don't have a consistent exact number of products that I launch each quarter. It's going to vary based on what I'm doing. So right now I'm working on one product that is in the very beginning stages and it requires complete design. I'm working on another product that's in the very beginning stages and also it requires complete design. And these are from ground up, and these are two completely different brands. Then we have our arbitrage products that are just constantly ongoing, so those don't technically apply as private label. Many of you guys have asked this question, should I mix my arbitrage with my private label? Does it matter? It doesn't matter. Currently, we do on one store and we don't on another. And that's just for strategy reasons. Once you start generating a certain amount of income per month, for ours, it was around the 20,000 per month mark. When we hit that, we decided, you know what? It's better to have a separate Amazon store just in case one gets shut down. Then I have the option, the other one, to keep going. And they're two separate company identities on those stores. So ideally, and I'm going to give you an idealist answer, and I wish I could say it's more consistent than it is, but like life is crazy and there's always different things. Ideally, 4 every quarter. That's ideal for me, but it depends. In other words, for products that we are launching that do not require a mold, they don't require a new design, all they require is a simple tweak and really good marketing for a product. Those launch much faster than the ones where we're completely starting with a product, check this out, that doesn't even exist on Amazon, but you can still use keyword research to measure demand. So it's based on where you are in that stage. So that's the best, most specific answer I can give you. Great question, man. Okay, so Vered Benita Dan says, is it possible to use a discount promotion on the listing and also coupon redeeming landing page? The buyer will be able to use both coupons will the buyer be able to use both coupons on the same purchase? So you got your discount promotion on the listing and then the one on the redeeming landing page.
Yeah, this is a very good question. So what you're going to have is like a coupon clipping on the listing, which customers can use as they check out. They apply this coupon. Interesting point on that, though, is that they don't often use it. So you get this increased conversion where it says, 10% off, but they hardly ever use it. So you get full sales, but that's the one. And then the other one you would do is like we spoke about earlier, from a landing page where you're giving them a specific coupon code. And the answer to the question is yes, they could use both, but it depends on how you set it up. So coupon codes can be exclusive or preferential. And when you set the coupon code up, that's what you're going to select is this exclusive? In other words, this code, so exclusive or preferential. And then they had another one, but I believe they've removed that. But basically, that's what you want to choose, is that the code is exclusive or preferential. If they've taken exclusive away, I think they did. Then you're choosing preferential every time. That way, Amazon's going to choose the code that's best for the customer. So if they would get 5% off on your coupon clipping on the listing, but you're giving them 20% off with the coupon code from the landing page, then they'll get the landing page one, but not both. They don't get both.
Stack them. Yeah.
So when setting up coupons, you can just select this. It's called coupon code combinability, and you just choose, can they combine or not?
Right.
So you definitely want to make it just one. That way, it's not, you're not giving away 90%.
Right. And just so you guys know, if you include a lightning deal in there, they are stackable. So be careful with that. Jack Gray says, when selling on eBay, in my case, unbranded wireless headphones, how do I get my product ranked quickly? So the first question, Jack, I would ask is, what problem does your product solve? You have to know that. Then you know how to market it. Even when you create your listing, like the title and any of the features that you're going to describe in that block of text that you get on eBay, you still, as well as the category, you still have to know, what problem am I solving? If it's just we're headphones or we're a cool set of headphones, it's not enough. So I would have to put the question back to you is, what are you solving? Now let's just pretend that one of the strengths of your headphones is they're very noise canceling. So let me take these as an example. I put these on. It really cuts out the sound. All I can hear is my voice in my head practically. When I'm playing music, it's like the whole world's disappeared and I'm totally in the zone, which is kind of cool. So you would put noise canceling in the title. You would start with the main part of the keyword, like the core part, headphones or wireless headphones, because that's the core part. Then you would add the part that differentiates. Well, these are noise canceling. But I would even go one step further, because there's a lot of noise canceling headphones. So I'm still going to ask, why would I buy yours, Jack, versus someone else's? So you have to go another step down. Here's the key. When you have differentiated a product, if you have differentiated, each time you go further in differentiation, you get into a smaller category, which is great, less competition. But you have to keep going down until you are the only one who's differentiated at this level. And sometimes that differentiation is perceived versus real. In other words, it's more about the wording and how you market it and the look of it. That could be the, in other times it's, we actually have the most non-breakable headbands for headphones, or we do have a new material that cancels sound better than any other headphone you've seen on the market. See what I mean? So at some point you keep going down until it's so differentiated, it cannot be copied, or it's almost next to impossible, which means a lot of your mental work is not going to be in the product research. It's going to be the differentiation. Most people, Dan, I believe they put too much emphasis on product research, not enough on differentiation. You have to see, product research is great and you need it and it's important. But where most people miss it is the differentiation. Like, oh man, there's high demand, there's great sales, there's low reviews. That's great, not enough. How is your product solving it better than anyone else? Having said all that, once you know that, Jack, you can actually run ads on eBay. You can drop in the keywords based on your listing and the differentiation you're offering, such as, unbreakable headband, new foam material, best noise cancellation, coolest style, whatever it is. And in the title, it's very similar to Amazon, but it's different. You start with that main keyword, and then the end of the title is what makes it different, the differentiated part. And then you rank it like crazy through ads, and then you begin to sell. And of course, keep in mind on eBay, the big difference is on eBay, you can't sell into other people's listings. So you get thousands and thousands of listings of the same thing. Whereas in Amazon, if they see two different, I know these aren't the same, but let's say the same product, they like to merge them into one because they want it to be convenient for the customer. I can look at one listing and see all the buyer options versus going through 10 listings and they're all the same thing. Now I'm frustrated. See, the advantage with eBay is that now no one can hijack your listing and copy that part, like copy or latch onto it. So all you have to do is make sure that your listing stands out from the many duplicates out there. Jack, I hope that was helpful, man. I know I got a lot on the marketing side, but you have to know the marketing to know the differentiation. Then you know what to say different about it.
Seth, if I can jump in on that quickly, because I think it's so important. Another thing that people fail to do, and this is the easiest one to fix, but they do really well at differentiating, and then they don't represent that enough. So you've actually done all this work on the product. I was actually speaking to someone yesterday where I saw this happening, and they had this amazing feature with the product, but they weren't emphasizing that on the main image. Yeah. And little things like that, even just representing all the work you've done. You've done all this work. Yeah. Make sure it pays off. Put it up on the image. Yeah. Exactly. Just put it up on those images and make sure it pops, because that's going to lead to your clicks, which leads to everything else. Yeah. So very, very important point, as well as showing what you've done, all the work you've put in.
It's such a great comment, you guys, because it requires self-awareness. Some of you are naturally going to be geared toward the product design, the development of the product, and you're really in the technical details, but you might not think as much about, wait, how does it look? And others of you might be really good at the how does it look, but you're not taking the time to make sure it actually is differentiated. You have to have both. Those are almost like two sides of the brain. Okay, I will take a couple more questions, then we got to wrap it up, guys. So Jocelyn asked this, Dan, I'll give this one to you, brother. Hey guys, miss you. Thank you, Jocelyn. What could be done about our returned used products? And I'm assuming she's referring to Amazon.
So it's just going to depend on where you live and also the settings you use. Returned used products, it's going to depend. So Amazon, every time they receive an item back, they're going to check that item. And the first thing they do is look at why it was returned. And the customer, if you've ever returned something, you would see that they're asking for your input. Is it defective? Do you just not like it? Was it unauthorized? Little things like that. But they're looking at whether or not that item is resellable. And if it's marked as resellable, then the next step would be to put that item back into your inventory, and it would actually be sold again, sometimes in like an open box format, where it will be like an Amazon warehouse deal or something where the packaging's just different. In other cases, it'll be exactly the same, just put back into your inventory. If it's unsellable, maybe it's broken or defective, then Amazon's going to do another test and see whether or not this was their fault or your fault. And if it was their fault, they would take responsibility for it, and they'll actually reimburse you, and then they'll deal with that defective item. But if they establish it's your fault, then you're going to have to either pay them to destroy it or pay them to remove that item, and you'll place a removal order and get that item back. So that's then up to you. At that stage, it depends where you live. If you live, let's say you sell in the US and you live in the US, you could just return the item to yourself and maybe do FBM with the item. If you don't, then you're probably going to destroy the item. So that's how you're going to deal with those returned used items, and also how Amazon establishes whose fault that is, etc.
I want to just take a moment to brag on Dan, guys. He did $2,356 USD dollars and 55 cents in one day. $2,356. Now, granted, it was a strong day, but even take 2/3 of that and multiply that by 365 days. You get the idea? That was 109 units in one day. So when you're listening to Dan, you're talking to someone who is not just talking about it generally, but he understands it because he's living it day in and day out. He understands how it works. And this is really important to Just One Dime. Every coach has to submit copy, proof of their sales, and not just their sales, but their actual profit. So that way you are not, when people become Just One Dime members, they're not just like, oh, we have a nice course with information. No, you're actually learning from people who are in the battle with you. They are in the foxhole with you. They get it. They understand. They know what it feels like to lose $20,000 along the way like we did. They know what it's like to have a supplier at the last minute say, oh, goodbye, I'm not going to talk to you anymore. They get that. And they're okay with it because they've learned how to fail forward. I was just talking to one of our staff members, Peter, today, and we're talking about, getting this t-shirt. I'm going to totally mess up the quote, and it's a terribly, terribly gory quote, but I'm going to share it with you anyways. He says, the plains are littered with the body of pioneers. And the idea is that if you go all the way back to the expansion of different countries, and please don't go political on me here, guys. I'm not doing that, okay? I'm just giving an example. When people try to make efforts to do something, it costs lives, whether it's fighting for your freedom, fighting for your country, or fighting for your family. And maybe it doesn't cost life, but it costs relationships sometimes. And that's a willingness to die. Like something has to die inside of you for you to live. It's like resurrection's awesome, but no one wants to talk about what has to happen before resurrection, death. Resurrection wouldn't be what it is if it wasn't for death. And Dan went through Amazon hell. He really did. And I hope this doesn't discourage you guys. If you're in South Africa, he could tell you everything in the world about starting a business outside of the US. We have a whole section on it. All credit to Dan, because he went through the pain of figuring out how to make that work. And not one time did he ever complain. Instead, he found solutions. And that's why he's grateful. And that's why he's fun to work with, because he knows what it's like to die so you can live. It's like a plant. What happens, you guys? You can check out this. Why do I have this on my arm? Well, a seed has to die for it to sprout and take life. That's the whole idea of the tree. And so I'm telling you guys, whether your challenge is your business or your relationships or your finances or your health, sometimes something inside of you has to die for you to get to the next level. And the sad part to me is a lot of people aren't willing to die. I know that sounds ridiculous, but it's true. A lot of people aren't willing to go through what it takes. You have to get to a point where you're like, I will do whatever it takes. I was in here earlier talking to Ingrid, and she was talking about the future of this company that we're building. And I said, we will fail 1,000 times to get there, and we will lose a lot along the way. And she's like, yep, I'm cool with it. I'm a tough cookie. And that's exactly how your attitude needs to be when it comes to challenging anything in your life, is a willingness to die. So Dan, I just want to say thank you for being here today. Thank you for being an example of that. Guys, I'm going to answer one last question because someone asked, and he said, how do I get started? Do this, guys. If you're not, if a lot of this is confusing to you, you're not sure, just go to a website. I'm going to give it to you right now. justonedime.com/freedom. Just think Braveheart screaming freedom. So justonedime.com/freedom. Go there. It'll give you a full rundown on exactly what we do as a team and why. I can say with like total pride, and I don't think it's arrogant pride, and if it does, tell me, KK. She's smiling over there. I guess I'm good so far. Is we have made multiple people millionaires. We've trained multiple millionaires. One of our companies is selling for 150 million. We got them up to 7 million a month, and it's selling for 150 million. Like, think about that, you guys. That's insane. So there's no reason you can't make this happen. But I'm telling you, it's going to be hard. Yes, Marian, I've died a good few times. Except she says it like this. I've died a good few times, I think. Didn't I? All right. Well, that is, oh my goodness. Kimberly gave me a thumbs down on that British accent. Marian, Kimberly said my accent was really bad. All right. Dan, anything you want to share before we rock out of here and get back to work?
Yeah, I just want to say happy birthday to Marian. It was her birthday yesterday, and she's been a...
Let's sing it.
Happy birthday.
Let's do it. All right. How do you do it in South African?
Just the same as you.
Okay. Happy birthday to you.
To you.
Happy birthday
to you.
Happy birthday, dear Marian. Happy birthday to you.
But she's been...
we need to work on
She's been awesome. She's been a member for a long time now, her and Matt, and they've been just so supportive and helpful with everything, and making some awesome progress. They actually do different business models, and so they've been a really cool group to work with. And thank you so much for your kind words today as well, and great questions from the whole chat. So excited to see some new members hopefully joining us who keen to get this going. But yeah, thank you so much for having me again.
Absolutely, man. And guys, if you haven't been convinced, if you're not a member to not be yet, you get to meet Marian. She's on the inside. All right. See you guys. Have an awesome day. Dan, appreciate you, brother.
Righty. Bye, guys.
All right. See you guys. Bye.